From Jazwares and their Pokemon line that I love oh so much, this is their Battle Feature Blastoise and the Battle Figure Pack including Fenikin and Bonsly. The reason I'm combining these packs up is because during my first playthrough of Pokemon Y all the way back in, oh god, it's been like 12 years, hasn't it? The starter I picked was Delphox, and the Kanto starter I chose was Squirtle. So there is like a very weird, nostalgic feeling to seeing these two packs together. I'm actually really excited to open them up and have a Blastoise in the Jazwares line at long last, as well as one of my low-key favorite starters. I feel like Delphox doesn't get enough love. As for Bonsly, I mean, Bonsly's cute. Looking at Fenikin and Bonsly first, I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed by the Fenikin, but looking at Bonsly, right? This is great. I love his stepping out pose, I love his expression, the paint is great throughout, the sculpting is solid. That's just a perfect little Bonsly, no complaints. I kind of want a pseudo Voodoo now, actually. As for Fenikin, there's a little bit of a paint issue with the eye, there's paint issues throughout the face, there's a random black spot there on the fur. The yellow and the oranges kind of bleed into each other. The sculpting is fine. The pose is, kind of boring, but still fine. I just wish the figure was a little bit more remarkable. It's a very boring Fenikin, which is a shame because we don't get many figures from this line. So, I mean, I want a Delphox. I would like a Braixen. Fenikin, though, is kind of letting the line down just a bit. Let's see if Blastoise can save this lineup for me. I'm not gonna lie, Blastoise is pretty good. So, of course, this is a battle feature figure. That means that they prioritize the gimmick over articulation. In a perfect world, this would have been the Trainer Team series, which is where we got my Charizard figure, which I think is the best Pokemon action figure ever. That said, this is still solid enough. So looking at the articulation, we have an articulated mouth, goes up and down, it's on a spring, we'll get back to that in a minute. We have a universal at the arm, which is really nice. So you can get a few different expressions with this guy. Like maybe he's trying to sell you a car, or maybe he's like trying to calm someone down after a bad trip. And then he has a universal down here in both of his legs. So he's not the most articulated guy in the world, but they're at least giving him options. Throughout the figure, you have wonderful sculpting. It looks just like Blastoise does from the games. There are some issues here. For instance, there's like a little white spot right there at the eye. But I'm fine with that. I would prefer it not be there, but I can live with it because overall, I was expecting this to be just like an unposable figure. And I'm able to get some pretty fun looks out of the guy. So I can live with that. Now, I mentioned the articulated jaw earlier. It's connected to this. When you move the tail, the mouth goes up and down. As I said, the battle feature figures are built around a gimmick. And with Blastoise, you got those two big cannons on the back, so you gotta think, this must be a pretty interesting, oh wow. So I want to see just how well the cannons work. I'm going to load just one, and then I'm going to assume it's the tail that I gotta push. So I'm going to push it down. Okay, that did decent. Let me load both cannons. Stoop and dupe. It's definitely not like the most crazy I've seen these things launch with Pokemon before, but it's still good. Can both launch? Both launch! Okay. So I'm not gonna lie, I was really worried that only one would shoot, but no, they both launch at the same time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would have preferred, again, a more proper Blastoise action figure, but for a gimmick, that's not that intrusive, and it works pretty well. I can dig that. You can't have Blastoise without Hydro Pump, after all. Overall, I think the Blastoise is spectacular for this line. Just like most Jazwares Pokemon figures, it's nice, it's simple, it gives you a great cheap figure option for the character. Alongside that, Bonsly is very good. I was not expecting to like that Bonsly as much. Fenikin's a bit rough, but I can live with it. Overall, I'm really happy with these three. And with that new Pokemon Legends game just around the corner, I'm kind of glad I was able to indulge in a little bit of personal Pokemon Y nostalgia for myself. But with all that said, Blastoise, I would definitely recommend the other two, if you're interested, I suppose. But overall, just another nice little surprise from the Jazwares Pokemon line.